Audra. And of course, you know all those interviewers are going to be Googling you before giving you a call, meaning you'd better look good online. And yes, that includes your Facebook page.
Facebook's great for connecting with old friends or networking with new ones. But with new technology comes new rules. So we met up with Yahoo Web Life editor Heather Cabot for a lesson in Facebook Etiquette 101. Her first piece of advice, know your network.
It is a public space, and even with privacy settings, you could have your network set to private, but maybe there's somebody in that network that you don't want to know what you did Friday night. Even if it's not that bad, it's just a matter of separating our personal and professional lives. And I think it's perfectly okay to say to someone in your office, you know what, I really use Facebook for my friends and family.
Beth says it's even okay to unfriend someone as long as you let them know why.
I think you just need to be really upfront and say, I'm really running out of time. It's really hard for me to manage all of these different status updates and keep up with all of my different social networks, and so I'm trying to kind of whittle down my network a little bit. It's nothing bad about you. Please don't be offended. It's really about me, and I'm just trying to manage my time a little better.
But even with a small network, it's important not to overshare.
There's a temptation, because it is so immediate, that something happens and you want to broadcast it to everyone. And I think that we need to just take a few moments before we actually send it out. They really need to know every intimate detail of your life, or whether you're having a good day. Probably not.
And that goes for photos too.
Somebody may put up a picture that maybe you don't like, and maybe it's not a scandalous picture, but maybe it's a picture you don't think you look great in it. You don't want it up there.
You can untag photos you don't like or ask your friends to take them down.
So I think in general, a good rule of thumb is never post pictures or video of anyone without asking them.
And lastly, think before you post, especially if you're feeling emotional.
I think it goes back to the old adage from college, don't drink and dial. It's the same thing with the internet. Take 5-10 seconds before you send out, whether it's an email, a text, IM, a status update. Be really careful about what you put out there.
Once you set your Facebook privacy settings, be sure to test them out by Googling yourself and seeing what comes up. Audra?